Hi guys, it's Cecile.
And Jen.
This is Things in My Head podcast. This is week
16. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking.
Week 16. We've been doing this for 4 months. That's crazy.
What?
Well, we've been having a good time. Thank you guys for listening, tuning in, listening to some of the topics, giving us your feedback. If you follow us, we'll do the easy stuff first. Social media handles, Things in My Head podcast, all written out on Instagram.
Yes.
Also YouTube. And the Gmail or email account is things인myheadpodcast@gmail.com. We will also shout out our other pages. As you know, we work at Brooks Boutique, a ladies consignment boutique. That's on Instagram, Love Brooks Boutique, and TikTok. And in Facebook, it is Brooks Boutique Pearland, and the website brooksboutique.com, where you can shop all of our luxury and designer bags. Of course, we do a lot of Facebook lives on off Facebook. So, so I just listened to last week's episode with you and Lauren on goals at 29, and it was so good. I say this all the time, but really, if you haven't listened to it, it was really good. It was, y'all do a really good job really just explaining like what the topic is in your lives. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Oh, pause. A call from one of my clients, real estate clients. So sorry for the interruption. That's how it is. It's like this. You're like, and then also, excuse me. But if that's not a great example that I will stop everything for my clients, I don't know what is.
Yes, so go follow them at Sweet Petite Duo. That is where you can find all your real estate needs.
Greater Houston area.
It's the Greater Houston area.
Oh, I actually lied. If you're not even local to us, I can help you find a great realtor, because we have our office has like over, I don't know, 600 all over the country.
I didn't even know that.
Yes, all over the country. So let's say all our California folks, you're like, I have no idea. Just call me. I will vet and find you someone wherever you are. So
That's
anyway.
awesome. That's really cool. Yeah. But I guess we're segueing back into, we talked about, me and Lauren were on last. We talked about our goals.
Yes.
And
so
that was a super fun episode. So if you haven't listened to it, I highly encourage it. We've been working very, very hard. And I think it was a really fun, meaningful episode.
Well, that's what they are. I like I just told you, I just listened to it. I was like, because I listen to my podcast when I'm getting ready, when I'm cleaning up or on my drive. And so we try to make them around this 30 minutes attention span of what we're doing. But it was so good. I really do love like your perspective from my ladies that are like my age or older, which I already said hi, I'm old, but like 49, but like they're 29.
You don't look at all.
Oh, thank you.
You look good.
Thank you. But it's a different perspective. So I love, because where else can I hear that? Like, because we work together, but we don't talk like this during work. We're busy. And so I love listening to these, because I'm just like, oh my God, this is so good to hear your lives. To hear your lives. So anyway, so go listen to that if you haven't yet.
Really, really fun. This episode, we're thinking we're going to do a little bit different. So we're going to try and do like little snippet stories, breaking it up a little bit. So the first one, I was just telling Cecile that I moved to a neighborhood, and it's actually quite interesting because my mom actually grew up in that neighborhood. So she has a lot of her earliest memories was her living in that neighborhood.
Is your mom as old as me? How old is your mom?
My mom is like 60.
Okay.
So she is older than you.
Okay.
You are not 60. If you look that good.
Only 10 years away, honestly. Not that far. But okay, just trying to get a mindset of like when
she's
she grew
early
up
60s, and she grew up in that neighborhood. My grandparents are Hispanic. They are Mexican American. Both of them were born in the United States, but like grew up mostly in Mexico and then traveled to the United States. Back then it was very common for you to just, like, my great grandmother was Mexican, but what they would do is they would just travel the border, have their children here, and then go back to Mexico where they could they would come back, and then just that way their kids would have a good passport and be able to travel back and forth and be able to make their own decisions about their lives. So they went to Houston. My grandma was kind of the only one in her family that moved over here. So it's not like they had a lot of foundation of like their people here. So they moved to a predominantly Hispanic neighborhood to kind of find that community again.
So this is, just to clarify, in downtown Houston.
Yes, downtown Houston. You probably would, if you're local to the Houston area, you'll probably know where it is. I don't want to say exactly
So
where
is
I live.
it like, are we talking 70s, 80s?
Yeah, 70s, 80s is when my
Okay.
mom grew up over
Okay,
there.
okay.
And so it was nice. There's a lot of work for them to do. My grandma worked in a factory cutting curtains.
Mm-hmm.
So she was a seamstress, so they hired her straight on to be able to work over there. And yeah, that's how they kind of provided. And my mom is intimately knows that history of that neighborhood. She grew up there. I love living in that neighborhood.
What address? I'm kidding. Because you said I'm not saying the address.
I'm not going to say the address.
What's the intersection? I'm just kidding.
I'm not going to say where I live, but if you're local to the area, you probably guess like a historically Hispanic neighborhood. You'll probably know in Houston what that is.
I've been here 30 years. I don't know.
But
40 years.
but I feel like, so moving there, I'm actually really happy that I'm living over there.
Oh, that is kind of cool. So you
Yeah.
recently moved there with some in a house with some girlfriends.
Yes.
Okay.
With two really good friends, I moved in, and it's a nice little historical house. It's really cute. And
But the convo we were having was about like the change of that
the
space,
change.
right?
So the landscape of that neighborhood is changing. Unfortunately, I guess they built the monorail. I don't know if the monorail has always run through that neighborhood, but it is very conveniently close to where I live.
Okay, so for those that don't know,
Mm-hmm.
in Houston, we have obviously your regular bus system lines, but it's so widespread. Like it's obviously a huge city, and so
Yeah.
everyone drives everywhere for the most part. We don't
It's-
do a lot of like public transport.
There's not a lot of good public
Yes.
transport, and the monorail
Yes.
is kind of the only
Right.
good public.
And
And
it
it's not like
goes-
the best, but it is better than
Yeah.
the bus.
and
It's
it goes
faster.
through our med center, our downtown. I guess, yeah, that's part of downtown.
We live in a very like what is that, car heavy, like you have to have a car, unfortunately, which that's a whole other topic, but like public transportation should be a thing for everybody. So I think that that's great that we have that in that neighborhood, so that they don't necessarily always need a car. They can travel on their own, because having a car honestly is a luxury. Like
For sure.
it is it's financial, it's a lot. So
But you're saying that that area is changing and it's
Yeah.
causing issues.
it's becoming convenient, I guess. And a lot of people are seeing, hey, that neighborhood is really cheap, and it has a direct line to anywhere in the city on the monorail. So you can go anywhere in the city with the monorail. So it's becoming kind of trendier to live there. And so they're starting to buy up the properties from people, which is gentrification. So they're kind of pushing the people who have always lived there out, which is not good, because they're like, I've always lived here and I like the way it is, and I like, it's lower because that's where I can afford to live and have my family. So it's starting to become a little bit more trendy. So people are starting to make luxury apartments. Is what I've noticed the most, is a lot of redone houses that they're renting out, like duplexes, and then they're starting to build luxury apartments. And they're building one on my exact street. Unfortunately,
What's the name of it? I'm kidding.
I don't even know. I did.
I'm gonna
later
find
in
out.
this story, I did receive a letter from them, because this story gets a little.
Oh.
I don't even know if this is the end of this story, because
Oh.
we're just like embarking on this. I didn't know this was going to be, and I don't even think my roommates really understood, because one of the girls has lived there for like 2 years, and she's like, "Yeah, this is different." But
It says get out.
I was gonna say it was, so I don't know if I lived there at the time of the spray painting. So they started building the complex. I guess people in the neighborhood are upset for rightful reasons, I feel. They're not maybe respecting the people that have lived there for a long time. So I can totally understand that.
Some of the neighbors are selling their lots though, which
Yeah,
is why this is
that's-
happening.
Yeah. And it's,
the
they're buying
dollar
people out.
amount
They're-
reached their need.
Yeah, they were like, let's go, I guess. But at the same time, there's a lot of people that feel tied to that
Yes,
neighborhood, and they
of course.
want to stay. So I'm just like, okay, this is also, I'm not a homeowner. I don't have a stake in it.
Right, you're renting there.
Yeah,
You girls
I'm
are renting, right.
But so they sprayed.
National
You
podcast.
said- I was gonna
Now
say,
we're gonna
you-
have to put a disclaimer.
You're the one. You said the F-bomb on another episode.
did
Yes,
I?
you did. And Lauren was
I
like,
need
you didn't
proof.
bleep her out. And I was like,
Did I?
Is
I
that
normally
illegal?
don't cut.
Is that
I think they're gonna get. Okay, anyway.
I don't think that's
Wait,
like-
who wrote that?
I don't know.
Oh, somebody.
Somebody on the sidewalk pointing towards the apartment. Now, I don't think I lived there at the time.
Oh, okay.
My
Not on
roommate-
someone's property. It was towards the apartment developer.
Yeah, so
okay,
there's
got
the
it.
apartment, and then, there's a sidewalk. Obviously, they're just laying down.
This is recent?
Yes, they're laying down fresh concrete so that, you can walk
Yeah.
inside of your apartment. And that's where they spray painted. They just, laid it down, and then they spray painted.
We know what you're saying.
I was like, dang, okay. I don't think that's what my roommate told me.
Okay.
I don't remember seeing it, and I think it happened right before I moved in.
Okay.
But then when I moved in, I noticed that they put up signs that say
Trespassing.
yeah, rat family. I don't know if I'll bleep that part out, maybe. It says
Rat.
rat family.
To the developers.
Yes,
again.
the sign is on the other side, so there's a empty lot, and that
Oh.
lot they put up a sign right there.
Wow.
And the sign is facing them, and then they put up another sign with the same thing, and it's all facing that apartment. So obviously, tensions are high.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh god. And then I don't even know.
Wait, what was the letter you got?
Oh, we're getting to
Oh,
that.
okay.
But I have to say all the
Okay.
things that lead up. So
Okay.
there's tension, and I'm seeing it every day going to work because I have to pass that dang apartment complex.
Do you have a spray can in your hand? I'm just kidding.
I'm just like, okay, this is getting weird. But whatever. It's clearly I understand what's going
Yeah.
on here. People in this neighborhood are very upset that
Yeah.
this is happening, and I can understand that. So then I'm driving at nighttime, and I see what looks to be a human figure.
Oh gosh.
And I'm like, oh, it's a human figure, and they're wearing red. And then I'm like, is that Santa Claus? It is. And they hung Santa facing that apartment complex.
Shut up. That's horrible.
Yeah.
That's trauma. Are there
I was
kids in the
like-
neighborhood?
There is a lot of kids in the neighborhood. I live right next.
Oh,
I'm probably
my-
not going to say that, but I do live next to a school.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's horrible.
So I was like,
This was recent.
this was very recent. The Santa's still there.
It's still there.
Yeah.
No
They
one took it
updated the
down?
sign to be a little Halloween one. So I was like, okay,
But
that's
that's
kind of cute.
That is not a Halloween. Oh my
No,
gosh.
no. Not the Santa Claus, but they updated the little rats that they drew. They put little witches' hats on them.
Okay, they took Santa down. Someone took Santa down?
No, it's still there.
Oh my gosh.
I probably should take a photo of that. That's insane.
Put it in the notes.
Yeah.
Well, this is what other podcast. Let's put it in the show notes. No, we'll put it on our Instagram.
Oh my
where
gosh.
you put it. Watch this podcast.
Oh my gosh.
Put it in the second part. You have to swipe.
God. That is just it was so.
That's traumatizing. That's
I
horrible.
was like, what? Okay, so then I'm like, okay, things are getting crazy. I'm talking to my roommates. We're all like, whoa, yeah, that's going a little far. But at the same time, we're like, it's not like they're going after us or anything like that. So I don't feel unsafe
Yeah.
at all.
You know it's because of the
I know
developers.
it's because of the developers,
Yeah.
and they're, obviously
Yeah.
they don't want them to move there. But the building is erected, it's happening.
Yeah. It's there. The next thing you're gonna get is the whole neighborhood gets flyers with special rates.
No. That is exactly. Oh my god.
Are you kidding me?
So then,
Just
it's a
kidding.
beautiful fall day. That one day we had good weather. I was off.
Sunday. That one day.
The one day. So my roommate's also off with me. So we're just having a great fall day. We're opening all the windows. We're just having a good time. We're both studying and doing what we got to do. I was working on that little website that we want to do, and she was studying for her little exams, and we were just having a good time working together. She opens the door because she saw something, I guess, on there, and she comes over to me and she's like, they left us a note, but I can't read it. It's in Spanish.
Okay.
And I'm starting to read it, and I'm like, oh, it's from those people. It's from the apartment people that are building an apartment. And she was like, no way. And then I flip it over. It's in English. And I'm like,
That's funny.
she was like, it was in Spanish. She said, I give up. But so we read the note, and it was like, if you want to come over and have drinks and food, we're going to host a little Q&A. You can voice concerns.
Okay.
You can, talk to us. Obviously, they're probably going to have their rates, I'm sure.
Yeah.
They're going to advertise their apartment.
I mean, that's smart to do. You got to bring the community in to address things.
Actually, that's so funny you say that. It said community right on the top. But you know what I didn't kind of like about it?
Okay, tell me.
I don't know if I'll keep this in, but it was like in graffiti letters. So
Like
it was,
they were taking a jab.
Urban.
Oh, they were already characterizing.
Yeah, characterizing the people that live there. I felt a little bit like
you
some
can keep
type of
that in.
way. I was like,
Yeah.
just make a respectful letter
You-
if
you
you're trying to
know-
like respect these people.
I always say this. We say this sometimes when we see different commercials where we're like, the funny thing is I'm sure this had to pass through several people,
That's what I'm saying.
committees. Someone had to approve this.
Yeah.
And did it and missed the mark.
Yeah, they definitely.
The message was good. The tone was wrong.
Yeah, I just felt like it was a little. I don't know. I did not like that.
Yeah.
How they betrayed that. Just to me, I felt like I was like.
I would
okay,
like you
so
to. I would
think-
like you to go to this meeting and voice that.
I was going.
You
to
totally
say,
would.
I was like, I guess we'll have to go.
When are we going?
When are we getting our free snacks?
I know. No, I'll talk.
I was gonna say.
Do you need a realtor? I'm kidding.
I was going to. So my roommate was like, I only have one concern: don't throw nails on the road because they'll stub our tires.
Yes.
And so I'm like, you're so right. Like I drive on that road every single day. My tires are at risk.
Wait, are y'all gonna go?
I have no idea. I have to look and see if I'm not working that day.
I think it's fair to go, especially if y'all are going to be there a while. Because here's my thoughts of what the concerns might be for people is what are the rates? Only because if it is high, then
it's going to drive our rent up.
Right, it's going to drive your rent up. So there is even though
That's
you're not
gonna not be good.
Exactly.
And our house isn't going to get updated. That's the thing. Like the price will go up, but our living quality, like we're not going to get an extra bathroom for the extra money we're paying for. We're not going to get redone things, like there's a couple things in that house that are good, and then there's also things that could be fixed, but those things are not going to happen.
Well, the question, because then it'll start asking the question of, is it going to affect appraisals and property taxes of those houses around?
That's what I'm saying. And I think that's what all the people, they're worried about because so the place that I live, it's a house, and he owns like a couple houses that are like the house across and the house to the side. He owns those properties. And so he vets out everybody that lives there. It's more like he just gets to know you, and then he's like, yes, you can live there. You seem like a good person.
Right.
He's just kind of helping people out that need a good place to live. He's very, very nice. So yeah, I just worry that for somebody like him, would it make it hard for him to be able to maintain all of those houses? Because he is the one, him and the person that lives behind me are kind of the ones. Sometimes he hires outside help, but they're both older. They're the ones that go outside and fix the houses.
Yeah.
If the fence goes down, they're outside all day, cutting the boards and doing it themselves. Like they're very handy people. Like they just kind of like build and makeshift and get things done that way. So I kind of worry for them kind of thing.
Well, it'll be interesting how that plays out. Or is at some point, they're going to sell,
That's
because if it raises
that was his childhood home. The one that I live in, it was the childhood home.
Yeah, but I'm saying, so he's older.
Yeah, so he's definitely.
And does he have heirs or like kids that would take it over?
Because I only see him working and stuff like that. So I don't know.
Well, keep us updated. That's interesting. Yeah. But that is true life of what you hear a lot about, like upcoming communities. And
you just don't think that you'll be like in the middle of it. And then what do you do when you were in the middle of it?
Yeah, but no one knows who's doing those who's doing it's him. Your landlord is the one that's doing all of the hanging of the Santa.
I hope not. He's a sweet old man.
Those are the ones you worry about. I'm just kidding.
I was like, it was those signs that threw me off for a second. At first, I didn't quite understand what those signs were towards, to who, like, is somebody mad at somebody? But then I realized, okay, it's them. And then the note definitely like solidified all of my.
Well, keep us updated if you hear more. If anything else happens, if y'all go to the meeting, if you
I should go to the meeting so I can come.
Can you
with
please? No, for real. I just want to know.
My one concern is don't throw nails down, please.
I mean, that's good, but at the same, there are bigger issues.
There are definitely bigger issues.
That's an issue. Don't get me wrong.
That's
I'm not
an issue.
evaluating, but I'm interested to see how they say it. Because to be honest with you, I see both sides. I've been in business in a long time. And so capitalism is real. And obviously, if they fill it up, there's a need. But there's the other side of that too. And, updating historic places or older neighborhoods is not new.
Yeah.
And it happens all over, especially in a big Houston, greater metropolitan area. So it'll be interesting how that plays out. So keep us updated.
Yeah,
Thanks for
definitely.
sharing. Interesting. Stay safe
Everybody.
out there.
I wanted to quickly interject and give a little bit of light to the story. As you can see, we are not in our usual filming studio, I guess, which is Cecile's house, but we are at my apartment. And I wanted to make sure that all of the things that we were saying in the podcast episode was correct. I did make a couple mistakes that I wanted to make sure before the episode got out that I corrected. Just so that way everything is totally clear, because it is kind of a wild story. So I wanted to make sure that all of my facts were straight. Basically, when we filmed these, we didn't really plan to do an episode about that. So I didn't really have time to make sure that everything was clear and cohesive like we usually do. So I wanted to come on here and just quickly at the end of the video, give us a little bit of clarification on what exactly is going on. So in the video, I guess the first thing that comes to mind that I want to definitely clear up would be the Santa Claus hanging. It is not a Santa Claus hanging in the, I guess it's like a little patch of grass in front of those buildings. It is a weird mannequin doll in a business suit. There is a Santa Claus there. I guess that's why I got confused. Honestly, when I'm on the podcast, I do feel a little nervous. So I think I mix things up a little bit, but it is not a Santa Claus hanging. It is a business suit thing. So trigger warning. I'll blur out the photograph in there, but I will maybe include it right now. So if you are sensitive to that, then definitely be warned. We'll enter that now. So that was one of the things that I definitely wanted to clear up. Hello, I wanted to quickly pop on and also say that thank you to my roommates. They definitely helped me stay on track with the story way more than I could have. So I wanted to give them a quick shout out. And there is more to this story. I'm definitely excited to see if we're going to film a part 2. So definitely stay tuned, because we're definitely thinking of doing part 2 to this crazy story. So I hope you guys love it. And again, back to Cecile and Jenny for the outro.
I will try.
Kids, Santa is real.
I know.
That
Poor
was not,
Santa.
I know that
Somebody
was not
take
the
him
message.
down.
I know, exactly. Okay. All right. Well, we're gonna let this segment end. Yes. You're gonna keep us going, and then we will talk.
I will try.